All right, so ready to dive in. Today we're taking a close look at Monk Moves Business, this PDF that's it's packed with advice on how to build a business that not only does well, but also really lasts.
Yeah. It's not just about riding the wave for a bit.
Right. We're talking legacy, we're talking going global, and even tapping into some of that, blockchain NFTs.
Mm-hmm. What I found so fascinating about Monk Moves is that they really emphasize purpose. It's like purpose-driven entrepreneurship. Not just chasing those profits, but weaving a deeper mission into like the DNA of your business, a mission that can actually resonate, for generations.
That's a huge concept. And the book really kicks off by urging you to define your brand's core purpose. Like, what is your mission?
Right.
It might seem basic, but they argue it's the foundation for attracting the right people and making those crucial decisions, especially when things get complicated.
Exactly. And it is a little bit like building a house.
Right.
You need that solid foundation first. And Monk Moves actually takes you through the steps of crafting a mission statement. It's interesting. Have you ever done that exercise?
I have, dabbled with mission statements.
Yeah.
Always interested to see how others approach it.
Right.
And beyond the words themselves, the book also stresses a strong visual identity.
Yeah.
How do you see that playing out in business today?
Well, visual identity is really about, creating that cohesive look and feel, that instant communication of what your brand is about, making sure that your logo, your colors, the typography, your overall aesthetic, all consistently reflect that mission across all platforms.
Yeah.
Think about some brands that you instantly recognize just by their visual cues. That's the power of strong visual identity.
Makes total sense. It's like that visual shorthand.
Exactly.
So, okay, you've got that strong foundation. You've got the killer visual identity. What's next?
Well, Monk Moves argues that the key to stand out, especially in today's world where there's just so much noise, is through really good storytelling. They really believe in sharing the journey of your business, the struggles, the triumphs, all those moments that really humanize the brand and make it relatable.
Sharing your story, huh?
Yeah.
That really resonates, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, people connect with authenticity.
For sure.
And a good story can be so powerful.
It sticks with you.
It does. What kind of stories do they recommend sharing?
Well, they suggest sharing, the origin story of your business, the challenges that you faced, those milestones that you're really proud of.
Yeah.
It's really about giving your audience a peek behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
Showing them the heart and soul behind your brand.
Makes sense. Builds trust and loyalty.
Yeah.
And of course, today, amplifying that story is more important than ever. And that's where digital marketing comes in.
Absolutely. Monk Moves goes into, all things digital marketing, emphasizing things like SEO, targeted advertising, leveraging that power of social media. Have you experimented with any of those in your own work?
Oh, I'm in the trenches of digital marketing constantly, trying to connect with the right audience. But Monk Moves takes it a step further, talking about actually building a community around your brand.
Yeah.
What are some of the tactics they suggest for actually fostering that sense of community?
Well, they advocate for that direct engagement.
Yeah.
Through events, through webinars, even Q&A sessions where you can interact directly with your audience. They also suggest, creating online communities using platforms like Discord, Facebook groups to create that space where your audience can actually connect with each other and share experiences.
Creating those spaces for genuine interaction. They also talk about really listening to your community.
Yeah.
Taking that feedback and incorporating it.
It's huge.
It's huge.
It's making them feel heard and valued.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then that sense of community can then be channeled into some of these new monetization strategies. And with new tech and platforms, it seems like there are more opportunities than ever to turn that engagement into sustainable revenue. What comes to mind when you think about innovative monetization?
Yeah.
It's a crazy landscape.
It is. It's constantly changing.
It is.
Yeah. Monk Moves mentioned some really interesting examples like selling directly through social media platforms or enabling ad revenue on your content. It's about finding those creative ways to generate income while staying ahead of the curve.
Staying ahead of the curve. And of course, they couldn't leave out the elephant in the room, blockchain. They highlight its potential for creating and selling NFTs, which can be a really powerful way to engage your community.
For sure.
And create those unique assets.
Yeah. Have you explored the world of NFTs at all?
I have dipped my toes in, still wrapping my head around all the possibilities.
That's a lot.
Yeah, Monk Moves definitely sees them as a game changer. But beyond these exciting new technologies, they also get into the kind of structural aspects of building a business that's built to last.
Absolutely. They talk about offering equity to key employees and investors as a way to, create that sense of ownership and foster that long-term commitment.
Offering equity is a big step, and it definitely raises some questions. What kind of advice do they offer to make sure these agreements are fair?
They really emphasize clear communication, thorough documentation, and ensuring that everybody involved understands the implications of equity ownership. It's about building that trust and avoiding those potential conflicts down the road.
Transparency is key, especially when you're talking about something as important as ownership.
For sure.
They also highlight PR public relations for building that brand visibility, that credibility.
Absolutely. They suggest building relationships with, journalists, influencers, media outlets to really get your story out there and establish yourself as a thought leader.
It's all about leveraging those connections. Amplify that reach, create some buzz.
For sure.
But as your brand is gaining visibility, protecting your assets becomes even more crucial.
Absolutely.
Right.
Monk Moves actually has a whole section devoted to, safeguarding your IP, your financial reserves, even your data. It's essential, especially today.
Yeah. They even provide a real world example of a startup that proactively went and patented its production methods, trademarked its branding.
Being proactive,
making sure all that hard work is protected.
Yeah.
And it really ties back to their philosophy of building something that's not just a flash in the pan, but is really designed to last, have an impact. That long-term vision is a recurring theme throughout.
It is. They're not just talking about building a business. They're talking about building a legacy.
How does that concept play out in the book?
Well, they believe in creating businesses that can generate those recurring revenue streams, for long-term stability, allowing you to reinvest, to weather those inevitable market fluctuations.
Right.
And ultimately create something that extends, beyond your own involvement.
So we're talking about building a business that could potentially last for generations. What kind of strategies do they recommend for actually achieving that level of longevity?
Well, they talk about establishing a clear long-term vision that extends beyond your own lifetime, creating enduring financial structures, investing in the education and development of future leaders who can carry the torch. It's a big vision.
It is.
It goes beyond just building a successful company.
Yeah, it's about creating something that has a lasting impact, that can continue to create value for generations.
And that kind of leads into their concept of infinite wealth. Which goes beyond just, amassing a lot of money.
Right.
They define it as creating value not just for yourself, but for society as a whole.
Aligning profit with purpose. Using your business as a force for good in the world.
Exactly.
That's an idea that definitely resonates.
It's powerful.
It's powerful. And with that solid foundation, then they explore, okay, how do you scale your business for that exponential growth?
Yeah.
It's taking those core principles and amplifying their impact on a global scale. So the business is stable, generating recurring revenue. It's aligned with this powerful purpose. Now it's time to really take it to the next level.
How does Monk Moves approach scaling?
Well, they introduce a concept called the scalable business model, which essentially means you're increasing revenue without proportionally increasing costs. It's creating a system that can handle growth without sacrificing efficiency or profitability.
Makes sense. Scaling isn't just about those internal processes. It's about expanding your reach, expanding your influence. How do they address that?
They talk about expanding beyond borders, tapping into new markets, new talent pools all around the world. They even have this cool concept of, imagine co-hosting international summits or hackathons.
Yeah. Bringing together thought leaders and innovators.
From all over
the globe. Yeah.
That's powerful. Leveraging your business to create connections, foster collaboration on a global scale.
And they bring it back to that idea of infinite wealth. It's about creating that ripple effect of positive change that extends far beyond your own little bubble of influence.
It is inspiring. But before we get too carried away with global domination, let's break down some of these key concepts a little bit further. Blockchain, for example, is something that they talk about quite a bit.
Right.
And for those who aren't familiar with it, how would you explain what blockchain is and why it's relevant to building a successful business.
It's a fascinating technology, blockchain. Imagine like a digital ledger that's spread across multiple computers, making it incredibly secure.
Mm-hmm.
Transparent. It's like this public record of transactions that can't be tampered with.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture, but how does that apply to building a business?
Right.
It seems pretty technical.
It actually has a surprising number of applications. Think about supply chain management.
Okay.
Blockchain can actually track products, from where they originate all the way to the consumer, ensuring authenticity and ethical sourcing. And then it can streamline financial transactions, reducing fees, increasing speed.
So it's all about creating efficiency and trust.
Exactly.
And then Monk Moves also mentions NFTs, which, they're all the rage these days.
We're having a moment.
They're having a moment. How do they fit into this whole blockchain puzzle?
Well, NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, are basically like digital certificates of ownership. They verify that you own a unique digital asset. This could be anything, from a piece of digital art to a virtual item in a game. And because they're built on blockchain, that ownership is secure and transparent.
It's like having a digital deed.
Exactly.
For a virtual property. I can see the appeal for artists, for collectors.
Yeah.
How can businesses really leverage NFTs though?
Well, imagine offering, exclusive access to content. Or creating loyalty programs with unique rewards, or even selling, digital versions of your products as NFTs. It's a whole new world of possibilities to engage your audience.
It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It is.
Yeah. Monk Moves doesn't shy away from these complex topics, though.
No.
They dive into cryptocurrency, which is closely tied to blockchain. Where do they even begin with that?
They start with the basics. Explaining what cryptocurrency is, how it works. Think of it as a digital form of money that uses cryptography for security. And because it operates on a decentralized network, it's not controlled by any government or financial institution.
That decentralized aspect really seems to be a recurring theme here.
It is.
It's about empowering individuals, creating that level playing field. But cryptocurrency can be volatile, risky.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do they address those concerns?
They emphasize, doing your research, understanding the risks. They talk about choosing reputable exchanges, securing your digital wallets, being aware of scams. It's important.
Approach it with caution.
Definitely.
Healthy dose of skepticism. It's not a get rich quick scheme.
Not at all.
And Monk Moves goes beyond just, okay, how do you buy and sell cryptocurrency?
Right.
They explore these more advanced concepts like smart contracts and decentralized applications, or dApps.
Yeah.
Okay, this sounds a little futuristic. Break those down for me.
Okay, so smart contracts, think of them as like self-executing agreements that are actually written in code. So they automate the terms of that agreement, removing the need for intermediaries and increasing efficiency. So imagine a rental agreement, right?
Okay.
That automatically releases the funds to the landlord. When the tenant makes a payment, that's a smart contract.
So it's like having a digital escrow agent.
Yeah.
What about dApps? What makes them different from, the apps we use every day?
Well, dApps run on blockchain networks, which means they're decentralized, not controlled by any single entity. And this can offer enhanced security, transparency, and resistance to censorship.
It sounds like dApps have the potential to disrupt so many different industries.
Yeah.
What kind of examples do they give in the book?
Well, they talk about, decentralized exchanges. That let you trade cryptocurrency directly with other users without having to go through, a traditional stock exchange. They also mention decentralized social media platforms where you actually control your own data and you're not subject to, the whims of some big corporation.
It's like taking back control
Exactly.
of your digital life. But with all this talk of blockchain and decentralization, it can feel a little overwhelming.
It's a lot.
What advice do they offer for those who are just starting to explore this space?
They encourage readers to start small. Experiment with different platforms, different applications, gradually build their knowledge, build their understanding. It's a learning process. It's about taking those first steps and then gradually expanding your comfort zone.
It's about embracing that Monk Moves philosophy of learning And growth.
Right.
Speaking of growth, they dedicate a whole section to something called the 1% rule.
Yeah.
It sounds so simple but powerful. What's the idea behind it?
It really emphasizes the importance of those small, consistent improvements, over time.
Mm-hmm.
They argue that even tiny changes, when compounded over months and years, can lead to huge progress.
It's not about overnight success, it's about that momentum. Through consistent effort, how do they suggest applying this rule in a practical way?
Well, they give the example of improving your skills by
Right.
just 1% each day. And over a year, that adds up to a 37x improvement.
Oh.
And they apply this to everything from personal development to business growth.
It's a great reminder that consistency really is key, whether you're learning a language or building a business, improving your fitness. It's those small actions that add up to those big results.
And they also acknowledge that not every endeavor is going to be successful.
Right.
In fact, they embrace failure as a necessary part of the learning process.
It's about shifting your perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
Seeing failure not as a setback,
Mm-hmm.
but as an opportunity to learn and grow.
Do they offer any specific strategies for actually dealing with failure?
They encourage readers to, quote unquote, fail fast, learn faster, reflect on what went wrong, identify the lessons that you learned, and adjust your strategy. And they also emphasize creating that fail-friendly culture, within your team or organization.
That makes sense. If people are afraid to fail, they're not going to take risks.
Right. They're going to play it safe.
They're not going to innovate. So it's about creating an environment where experimentation is encouraged and failure is that stepping stone to success.
For sure. And they also emphasize leveraging network effects to amplify your impact. Have you ever considered how those can benefit you?
I've definitely witnessed the power of network effects, especially, online.
Yeah.
But how do they define it?
Well, they explain how network effects happen when the value of a product or service increases as more people use it.
Mm-hmm.
Think about social media platforms.
Right.
The more people that join, the more valuable it becomes for everybody.
Right. It's that snowball effect. Growth fuels more growth. But it can be so tricky to get that initial traction, especially in a crowded market.
For sure.
What advice do they offer for overcoming that?
Well, they suggest offering, incentives for those early adopters, creating that sense of community, leveraging strategic partnerships to expand your reach. And they also talk about the role of technology in amplifying those effects, highlighting how platforms like blockchain can create more efficient, more powerful networks.
Creating a system that incentivizes that participation, fosters growth. But with so many opportunities, so many decisions to make, it's easy to get overwhelmed. Decision fatigue. Do they address that?
Oh, they actually dedicate a whole chapter to decision-making and opportunity cost. They argue that every decision, it has trade-offs. And understanding those trade-offs can help you make more informed choices.
Weighing those potential benefits against the potential costs.
Right.
How do you approach that in a practical way?
Well, they recommend setting clear priorities. Breaking down complex decisions into smaller steps, and even delegating decisions when appropriate. It's about streamlining that process and avoiding feeling so overwhelmed.
Streamlining. And then once you've made those decisions, it's all about execution.
Right. Putting it into action. Do they offer any guidance on simplifying those business processes? Maximizing efficiency? Well, they embrace the lean startup principles, which emphasize, identifying those inefficiencies, eliminating unnecessary steps, and really streamlining those workflows.
So it's about creating this lean, mean business machine.
Exact.
Do they talk about the role of technology in this?
Oh, they highlight how important it is to leverage tools like automation and data analytics to simplify those tasks, gather insights,
Yeah.
And make more informed decisions.
Using tech to really amplify your efforts, make your business run smoother, but efficiency is not the only goal.
Right.
Monk Moves really stresses focusing on the right customers.
Absolutely. They introduced this concept called customer lifetime value, or CLV, which is basically the total revenue that a business can expect to generate from a single customer.
Right.
Over the entire relationship.
So it's about building those long-term relationships with your customers, creating a sustainable business that thrives on that repeat business, not just those one-off transactions.
Exactly. And they suggest focusing on customer retention, building that loyalty, providing exceptional service to really maximize CLV. They also highlight the importance of understanding your target audience and tailoring your marketing efforts.
It's that customer-centric approach, valuing those relationships. But with so many tasks and responsibilities, it can be hard to know, where do I focus my energy? Do they offer any guidance on prioritizing your efforts?
They introduce what's called the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule, which states that, roughly 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes.
So it's about identifying those key activities that are driving the majority of the results and focusing your energy there. How do they suggest applying that principle in business?
They recommend analyzing your sales data, your marketing campaigns, even your daily tasks to pinpoint those activities that are generating the most significant impact.
So working smarter, not harder. And sometimes boosting sales requires a little bit of strategy. Do they discuss any tactics for creating urgency, encouraging those customers to take action?
Oh, they dive into like the psychology of scarcity and how you can use it ethically and effectively to increase perceived value. Drive sales.
So we're talking limited time offers, exclusive products, maybe even creating that sense of urgency through limited availability.
Exactly. And they emphasize, being transparent, being authentic with your strategies. You don't want to create artificial scarcity or mislead your customers. It's about leveraging those principles, responsibly.
Finding that sweet spot where you're creating urgency, but not compromising your brand. Speaking of psychology, they also talk about the psychology of pricing, which is a topic I'm always fascinated by. How do they approach that?
Well, they argue that pricing is more than just numbers.
Right.
It's about understanding how people perceive value and how price can actually influence their decisions. So they explore, techniques like charm pricing, where prices ending in 99 or 95, create the perception of a better deal.
I've fallen for that.
We all have.
So many times. It's amazing how those subtle cues can really influence our decisions.
For sure.
Do they talk about any other pricing strategies?
They discuss anchoring, where you present a higher priced option first.
Okay.
To make the other options seem more reasonable. And they emphasize, understanding those drivers behind pricing decisions, like loss aversion, where people are more motivated to avoid losses than to actually gain something of equal value.
It's like they're giving you a peek inside the consumer's mind.
A little bit, yeah.
But let's be real, building a successful business, it's challenging.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. It's not always smooth sailing.
Lots of ups and downs.
What kind of support do they offer to help entrepreneurs navigate those ups and downs?
Well, they stress the importance of mentorship. Having a mentor can provide, invaluable guidance, support, and accountability.
It's like having that seasoned guide to help you navigate the terrain and avoid some of those common pitfalls. What kind of advice do they offer for finding a mentor?
Well, they suggest identifying individuals that you admire, researching their backgrounds, and then reaching out to them directly with a very clear ask. And then they emphasize, building a genuine relationship.
Right.
Based on mutual respect and a shared commitment to growth.
Finding someone who aligns with your values, who can offer those insights, and is willing to invest their time in helping you succeed.
Absolutely. And they go beyond just finding a mentor. They offer insights into structuring your business for resilience, for legacy. It's not just about building a business that thrives today. It's about creating something that can withstand the test of time.
It's about building a legacy that you can be proud of. And while building a legacy is important, so is creating financial stability. Do they offer any guidance on managing your finances effectively?
Oh, they explore this concept of automating revenue streams. Creating systems that generate that passive income with minimal oversight.
That sounds like the dream.
It's definitely a goal.
It is a goal.
Right.
What kind of methods do they suggest for actually achieving that?
Well, they talk about creating and selling digital products.
Yeah.
Building, subscription-based services.
Right.
Even leveraging things like affiliate marketing to generate income while you sleep. It's about diversifying your income streams, creating a more predictable, more sustainable flow.
It's about creating financial freedom, giving you the flexibility to pursue your passions without being tied to the grind.
Right.
But Monk Moves isn't just about individual success.
No.
It's also about leadership and inspiring others to achieve great things. How do they approach leadership?
They dive into those qualities of a visionary leader, describing them as those who can really articulate that compelling vision of the future, inspire others to buy into that vision and lead the charge.
So it's more than just giving orders.
Oh, for sure.
It's about creating that shared vision, motivating people to work towards a common goal.
And they emphasize leading with purpose, leading authentically, empowering your team, fostering that culture of innovation. It's about creating an environment where people feel valued, feel inspired, and feel empowered.
Creating a team that's not just working for you, but working with you to achieve something remarkable.
Right.
But leadership isn't always easy. There will be challenges.
For sure.
How do they equip readers to deal with those inevitable obstacles?
Well, they break down, the art of problem solving in business, providing a framework for identifying the problems, analyzing those root causes,
Right.
and developing those solutions.
So it's about approaching challenges strategically.
Absolutely.
And with a willingness to learn, to adapt, do they offer any specific tips for tackling tough problems?
They encourage readers to, be innovative, to be adaptable, to see those problems as opportunities for growth, for improvement. They also emphasize, gathering data, seeking diverse perspectives, and testing those solutions, before implementing them on a large scale.
It's about approaching problem solving with a growth mindset.
Yep.
And a willingness to experiment. And while problem solving is essential, so is creating a positive impact. Do they talk about using your business to drive social change?
Oh, absolutely. They argue that businesses have a responsibility to contribute to the well-being of society.
Yeah.
And they also argue that doing so can actually enhance your profitability and brand reputation.
It's not just about making a profit, it's about making a difference.
Exactly.
What kind of suggestions do they offer for aligning business success with social impact?
Well, they highlight a variety of ways to achieve that. From, incorporating sustainable practices to supporting ethical sourcing to even donating a portion of your profits to charities.
Yeah.
It's about finding ways to use your business as a force for good and creating that win-win where your business thrives and makes a positive impact.
Recognizing that business can be this powerful tool
Absolutely.
for creating positive change, but it's not enough to just do good. You've got to be seen as doing good.
Right.
Do they address the importance of building trust? Communicating your values?
They dive into what they call moral leadership, leading with integrity, leading ethically, with a commitment to doing what's right even when it's hard.
It's leading by example, creating that culture of accountability
For sure.
within your organization. Do they offer specific advice on how to actually cultivate that?
They suggest setting clear ethical standards, communicating those standards, to your team, and creating systems to actually ensure that those standards are being upheld. And they also emphasize transparency and accountability, being willing to acknowledge those mistakes and then taking steps to correct them.
Creating a culture where ethics aren't just, words on a piece of paper, but are really woven into the fabric of your business.
Yeah. It's got to be real.
But even with the best intentions, it can be challenging to get your message out there, inspire others to join your cause.
Right.
Do they offer any guidance on effective communication?
Well, they dedicate a whole chapter to public speaking, recognizing it as a powerful tool for connecting with those audiences, sharing your ideas.
Public speaking can be daunting for so many people.
That can be scary.
What kind of tips do they offer for becoming a more confident and effective speaker?
They provide, really practical advice on preparing for your speech, overcoming that stage fright, and delivering a presentation that captivates people. They even touch on the importance of storytelling, using humor, engaging with your audience to make that message memorable.
Turning public speaking from a chore into an opportunity to really inspire and connect. And speaking of connecting, they also talk about building a global impact network.
They explain how connecting with thought leaders, innovators, organizations from around the world can really amplify your impact and help you address, global challenges.
So it's about recognizing that you don't have to go it alone.
Right.
That there's power in collaboration.
Yeah.
And building that network. What kind of advice do they offer for actually building a network like that?
They provide, really step-by-step guidance from defining your goals, identifying those key stakeholders,
Yeah.
to fostering those meaningful relationships, and using technology to facilitate that communication.
It's about building genuine connections.
For sure.
And working together to create a positive impact.
And a Monk Moves doesn't just leave you with, lofty ideas and grand visions. They offer some practical tools and resources to help you implement those principles.
So it's not just a theoretical framework, it's a practical guide to achieving success.
Right.
What kind of resources do they provide?
Well, they offer everything from checklists to templates to online courses, workshops. They even have a thriving online community where readers can connect with each other, share ideas and support each other.
It's like a whole support system to help you succeed.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
But even with all those resources, it's still up to the individual to take action. What advice do they offer for turning inspiration into action?
They encourage readers to start small.
Yeah.
Set realistic goals and celebrate their progress along the way. And they emphasize, perseverance, recognizing that the path to success is rarely linear.
Right.
There are going to be setbacks.
It's about embracing that journey and finding joy in the process.
For sure.
Speaking of growth, they dedicate a whole chapter to exploring the potential of fungi to heal the planet.
It's a fascinating topic.
It's a topic that's been getting more and more attention in recent years.
It has.
What's so special about fungi?
Well, fungi are nature's master recyclers.
Yeah.
They have the ability to break down organic matter, to detoxify pollutants, and even to regenerate those damaged ecosystems.
It's like they're nature's cleanup crew. But how can we really harness that power to address some of the environmental challenges we're facing today?
Well, they dive into the world of what's called mycoremediation.
Right.
It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. Are they talking about using mushrooms to clean up toxic waste?
It's not as far-fetched as it sounds.
Yeah.
Monk Moves explains how certain types of fungi can actually break down pollutants, like heavy metals, even hydrocarbons. Essentially detoxifying the soil and water. They even have a whole section on a real-life organization called Mycopath Recovery.
Mycopath Recovery, yeah. That name rings a bell. Didn't they mention them earlier in the book?
You have a good memory. They were briefly mentioned as a group using fungi to heal the land. Chapter 44 really dives deep into their mission, which is to use the power of fungi to restore those damaged ecosystems. It's a fascinating blend of ancient wisdom and cutting-edge science.
Color me intrigued. What kind of projects are they working on?
They have projects all over the world, from cleaning up polluted rivers to restoring forests after wildfires. They're even working on using fungi to break down plastic waste.
Wow.
It's amazing to see the potential of these often overlooked organisms.
It's like they're unlocking a secret weapon in the fight for a healthier planet. But how do they actually put this into practice? I mean, is it just a matter of spreading mushrooms around?
It's a little more complex than that. They're developing very specific techniques for cultivating and deploying different types of fungi based on the environmental challenge they're facing. It's about understanding the unique abilities of each species and matching them to the right task.
It's like they're creating a whole army of fungal superheroes, each with its own special power. But is this something that can be scaled up to actually make a difference?
That's the challenge. And they acknowledge that it's not a quick fix.
Right.
It requires more research, more funding, more public awareness to really harness the full potential of mycoremediation.
Yeah.
And they talk about the need for greater collaboration between scientists, between policymakers, and between communities to implement these solutions on a larger scale.
It makes you realize that sustainability isn't just about finding the right solutions, it's about creating the right systems to support them.
Exactly. And Monk Moves takes it a step further by imagining how technology like their AVR Land Metaverse platform could be used to educate people about mycoremediation, showcase real-world projects, even create those virtual simulations to test different approaches. It's about using technology to amplify the impact and inspire more people to get involved.
That's a really cool idea. It reminds me of that whole smart cities concept they discussed earlier. It feels like they're weaving all these different threads together to create this more holistic vision of a sustainable future.
You're spot on. Chapter 45 goes into the world of smart cities, essentially urban environments that leverage technology to enhance sustainability. enhance efficiency, and just the overall well-being of the people who live there.
Okay. I'm picturing, self-driving electric cars, buildings covered in solar panels, sensors monitoring everything from air quality to traffic. Is that what they're talking about?
You're getting the picture. They talk about integrating those renewable energy sources, optimizing transportation systems, creating intelligent waste management solutions, even using data analytics to anticipate and address potential problems before they even arise.
It's like giving the city a brain.
Yeah.
Allowing it to respond to challenges proactively.
But what about the human element? Are people just passive passengers in this high-tech urban landscape? That's where that community-centered aspect really comes in. They emphasize designing these smart cities that actually prioritize people's needs.
Right.
Creating those spaces that foster that social interaction, promote walkability, ensure accessibility for everybody.
So it's not just about efficiency and technology. It's about creating cities that are people-friendly.
Exactly. They even imagine incorporating elements of biophilic design, bringing nature into the urban environment to create a more calming and restorative atmosphere.
I love that idea. It's about recognizing that we're not separate from nature, even when we're in our cities. But all this talk of smart cities can make it seem like sustainability is this grand thing that only happens on a huge scale.
Yeah.
What about those of us who just want to make our homes more eco-friendly? Does Monk Moves offer any guidance on that?
Absolutely. Chapter 46 goes into eco-friendly building principles, showcasing how to create homes that are sustainable and stylish. They talk about everything from using energy efficient appliances to incorporating natural lighting and ventilation to create a more comfortable, more healthy living environment.
It's about making those conscious choices when we're designing and building our homes to minimize that environmental impact.
Exactly. They even suggest incorporating elements of permaculture, which is a design philosophy that really mimics natural ecosystems to create self-sufficient, sustainable systems. Imagine having a garden that provides food for your family, rainwater harvesting systems, composting systems that turn your waste into fertilizer.
Yeah, it's like creating your own little eco-paradise in your backyard.
Exactly. But Monk Moves doesn't stop there.
Right.
They also explore how technology can be used to enhance the sustainability of our homes. And that's where the concept of smart homes comes in. They envision these homes that are equipped with sensors that monitors everything from energy consumption to air quality, allowing you to really optimize your resource use.
Yeah.
Create a healthier living environment.
It's like having a digital assistant for your home. That's helping you make more sustainable choices. But with all this talk of technology, it's easy to forget about that human connection.
Yeah.
That community. Does Monk Moves address that as well?
Absolutely. They dedicate a whole chapter to the importance of building strong communities, both online and offline. They talk about creating spaces where people can connect, can share ideas and support each other in this journey to create a more sustainable, a more fulfilling life.
It's a good reminder that we're all in this together.
Yeah.
And that collaboration, that community are really essential. But with so much information, so many different approaches, it can be overwhelming. Where do you even start?
Yeah. They encourage readers to start small, focus on one area that resonates with you, and gradually expand your efforts as you gain more knowledge and confidence. They also emphasize finding joy in the process, recognizing that sustainability is not about deprivation. It's about creating a more fulfilling, more meaningful life.
It's about seeing it as an opportunity. To create a better world. And they leave the reader with this really powerful call to action to envision their own sustainable future and take steps to make it a reality. They challenge us to think big, to dream big, and to use our unique talents and passions to make a positive impact.
It's an inspiring message that leaves you feeling empowered, feeling hopeful. And with that, we've reached the end of our deep dive into Monk Moves business. We've covered a lot of ground, from the foundations of building a purpose-driven business to the transformative potential of technology, to the importance of community and collaboration. We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to explore this world of sustainable business and living. Remember, the future is not something that just happens to us. It's something we create. And as Monk Moves so eloquently demonstrates, we
we have the power to build a future that's both prosperous and purposeful, innovative and sustainable, connected and compassionate. So go out there and start building the future you want to see.